how's it going? It's That Nerd Ryan here, and guess what? I got to see No Way Home. So we're going to go ahead and talk about it. For the first about 3 minutes, I'm going to say we're probably going to be spoiler-free, but I will give a warning right when we get into spoiler territory. I will give you a spoiler warning. Definitely, for sure. If you have not seen this movie, do not continue on from that point. I will give a ranking beforehand, just so you guys can see the ranking. But please do not continue the talk at all afterwards, because there's some great things that happen in this movie that, I mean, I technically got spoiled and I still liked it, but I mean, it still left less of an impact of if I didn't know. And the stuff that I didn't know still left a major impact that I feel would not feel the same way. It's been 3 days since it's been out. This movie's kind of hard to get tickets to unless you luck out and get it in the morning like I did. But, yeah. So there's going to be 3 tiers to this review. The first one's the spoiler-free review, where I'll just cover some basics, say some stuff, rank it. Then we'll talk about spoilers. Then we'll talk about the theories. I have them written on the post-it note, and rather if I was right or wrong. Made a video last Monday about last-minute theories. So actually, go ahead and watch that if you haven't seen No Way Home yet. So that way you could get in thinking maybe that some of these things would happen. So, let's talk about it. Tom Holland has been one of my favorite Spider-Mans since his debut in Civil War. And Homecoming has been my favorite Spider-Man movie, or favorite MCU movie, favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, up until today. We get all the returning characters from from Far From Home. We also get returning characters from the previous Spider-Man movies, with the Mark Webb movies and the Sam Raimi movies. We get the returning villains. And it does not feel as though these are cheap rip-off cameos, or these are the actors kind of just coming in for a paycheck. They feel that these are the same people that we left in those movies, and that was phenomenal. We also get Doctor Strange, obviously, and just some other really, really cool, crazy stuff. Mind-bending stuff, just amazing, amazing things. Little quick story, I did get to go in a homemade Spider-Man costume that I made. I'm going to actually end up posting it on Instagram when it's 100% finished. It's Peter's homemade suit from Homecoming. I just need to get the mask, but I got to go in and wear that. I got compliments. It was great. But yeah, so without getting into spoilers, this is now my favorite Marvel movie and my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. Definitely a 10 out of 10. Go and watch it as soon as possible. It is not way better than Endgame, but it ranks about the same as Endgame. Just on how great the story and everything is. There's about like 2 things that once we get to spoiler talk, one of them I kind of nitpicked, and then the other one, I mean, I don't like certain things that happen in movies, so we'll talk about that at spoilers, because I really don't want to say anything more that might potentially spoil this. But yeah, so officially now we are getting into spoiler territory. So please, if you have not seen the movie, do not continue watching. Go ahead and watch my Spider-Man theory last-minute videos and stuff like that. Please. You're only doing yourself a serious detriment if you continue watching and you haven't seen the movie. Also, I'll take the time to let you guys know that you guys should probably like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. Be a nice Christmas present for me. Come on, guys. It's Christmas week. But yeah, and make sure that you guys also follow me on all my social media down below, especially Instagram, where I'm going to send you guys the picture of my costume. But yeah, so again, one final time, spoiler warning. Let's go. From now on, we are going to be talking about No Way Home spoilers, stuff that wasn't revealed in the trailers, stuff that might have been leaked out, but stuff that are supposed to be revelations in the movie. So, the Matt Murdock cameo was amazing. That was something that got spoiled to me, but still, it was just great to, we get Kingpin one day, then the literal next day, we get Matt Murdock, Charlie Cox Daredevil. He's only in it for one scene, and so much happens in this movie where it feels like that happened in Far From Home, and you're just remembering it now. Because this movie's 2 hours and 47 minutes, and it takes 2 hours and 47 minutes of it. And there's not a dull moment, nothing at that. It's a ride. And the Endgame had, like, parts that are, like, calm down, really nothing's going on. And I mean, there's a part in this movie that is like that, but because of the characters that are interacting, it doesn't feel like, okay, we're just taking a breather. It's like, it's big, and it's great. So, basically, we get the Matt Murdock cameo about 15-20 minutes into the movie, and it's just one scene, and, like, the whole audience was cheering, and I was cheering. I was just so happy that we got Charlie Cox back. Hopefully we're getting everybody else back soon. Next would be, next thing I want to talk about is when everybody comes in, or everybody across the multiverse comes in, because Peter messes up the spell. And we get the fight with Doc Ock, and Green Goblin shows up, and then Spidey gets pulled out. Lizard's already captured. Peter has to go and fight Electro. Sandman is actually helping him. For most of the time, Sandman's kind of a true neutral. He doesn't really want to be there. He wants to see his daughter. And he just kind of doesn't want to, like, basically doesn't really want to fight, but he'll be willing to help Peter in the first fight. He does end up fighting them at the end, just because he kind of got manipulated by Green Goblin and Electro. Electro was actually a lot smarter in this movie than he was in Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is great. And Norman's as manipulative as ever. We'll talk a little bit about that during the theory portion of this. But, yeah, that was great. And then the most shocking thing was Aunt May dying. I was in literal tears. And she does say that with great power comes great responsibility. But, oh my god, I did not see that coming. And that, like, really, really crushed me. We'll talk about that a little more again in the theory portion. Because I thought it was going to go a different way. But still, it was a sucker punch. And then we get Andrew and Toby appearing, thanks to Ned being a wizard, and summoning them there. And just all the interactions between Toby, Andrew, and Tom are just amazing. It's fan service, but it's good fan service. Because, I mean, this is how these three characters would interact. And it's great. And it's unbelievably amazing just seeing these characters interact. And Toby having a back problem, Andrew helps him crack it, and they're just talking about, like, going through on their life and everything like that. And just them learning from each other. And, like, the downtime, there's, like, 2 downtime scenes, but it's literally just the 3 of them interacting. One of them's making the cures for the villains, and Toby just shares a moment with Andrew about, like, getting over Gwen. And then when they're at the tower, they're not the tower, Statue of Liberty, and they're just talking about, like, what they've been through and everything. It was great. And, like, it never felt forced. Like, that, when I got it ruined for me that Andrew and Toby were 100% in it. I mean, we all knew, but, like, I saw a scene of them interacting and everything, and it never felt like it was forced. seeing that scene, I felt like it was going to be forced, but it didn't at all in this movie. It felt natural. It felt like it was what's needed to be in the movie, and it was great. And honestly, if these two didn't show up in the movie, it still would have been an amazing movie. That's the thing. But them showing up, it didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like they were trying to be fan-servicey, even though it was fan-servicey. There was certain lines in there where it was a meta joke, like Toby's back hurting, Andrew Garfield saying that he's lame, and everybody's like, no, you're amazing, which is two meta jokes in one. And what else was it? Oh, I'm somewhat of a scientist myself. And what else was it? Where it's like, oh yeah, Max Dillon saying that he thought Spider-Man would be black, referencing the Donald Glover fan casting for Amazing Spider-Man and everything. That's like exactly the stuff that like you feel like would be forced and would be like cringy and everything, and it wasn't. So now we talked through a lot of big spoilers, but let's talk about the actual ending. Again, if you haven't seen this movie and you watch this far, what the heck are you doing? But this will literally ruin the entire movie for you. So Peter has Strange recast the spell. And in about 2 months, we're going to do a theory about this just because I want to be safe and I want to make sure everybody's had the chance to see it. But Strange redoes the spell where everybody forgets Peter Parker completely. That includes Ned and MJ and Doctor Strange and Happy and everybody they interacted with interchangeably of Peter and Spider-Man in Infinity War and Endgame. This is what I didn't like. This was the one thing that I completely was like, okay, this is dumb. And it's because they did it in Fantastic Beasts. And you could kind of tell that either Strange worked it out, where MJ and Ned could still remember him, or something like that. Because you could tell that MJ remembers Peter when they interact after that spell is cast. And, like, they play it off. Like, I'm fine that he did the spell. I'm fine that she definitely knows. We're going to do a theory. That's what the theory is. But I'm fine that she definitely knows. But I hate that they play off the open-ended of, oh, does she actually know? And stuff like that. There's stuff where, like, she choreographed here. I'm going to move my band so you can see my Band-Aid. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Stuff like that. It's like, yeah, she knows. Just don't make it a happy ending where she runs up and, oh my god, Peter! Then, like, you just kind of, like, cut away and Strange is talking to Wong. And he goes, so you cast the spell? And he goes, yeah, but I fixed it a little bit. Like that, or something. Where it's more optimistic than open-ended. Because, I mean, I'm fine with how it ended, but, like, I just hate, like, because then Fantastic Beasts, they ended it where, like, yeah, okay, maybe Jacob will remember everything. And then the next one, oh yeah, I remember everything, it's great. So, like, then I'm gonna feel like they're gonna have that, like, waste of time in the fourth one or in freshman year, which we're gonna talk about Spider-Man freshman year in a theory next week, about what that's actually going to be about, possibly. I have to look at the synopsis to make sure. But yeah, that was the only nitpick, was the ending was a little bit disappointing to me, but everything else outweighed it so much. Alright, so let's get to part 3. We're going to do this quick because I already got you guys sitting here for 15 minutes. We're going to talk about the theories that I made last week. So theory number 1 was that Happy was going to die. I was partially correct on the thought that somebody dying was going to give Peter the push to go and fight these villains, but it was not Happy. It was May. And it was done great. It was done well. With the great power comes great responsibility. That was great. But it was so heartbreaking, and it felt so out of nowhere. I was literally in tears. So I was wrong, but I was also right at the same time. Next one was Norman entering early. This theory was that because Norman seemed like he had some sort of personal connection, and he was in Feast and everything like that, that he would have came in early. But actually, no. Norman was just smart enough to be able to try to find Feast and then manipulate Peter that way. So I was completely wrong on that. And this one I was right and wrong, and it was that Andrew saves MJ. Andrew did save MJ, and that was actually my favorite scene in the movie, was him catching her. He's like, "Are you okay?" She goes, "Yes," and then he almost starts crying because of Gwen, and she asks if he's okay. But I also said that that's how he was going to kind of be introduced in the movie. Completely wrong on that. And I'm okay with that. Speaking of, the next one was that Andrew and Toby were barely going to be in the movie. They were only going to be in like half the third act. Completely wrong. They were halfway through the movie. Again, I am happy to be wrong on that. And then the last one was that we are going to have a ton of cameos. Again, this was a gray area because we did get Daredevil. We did not get a sixth member for the Sinister Five. So I was wrong on that. And that I kind of wrote weird notes. Oh yeah, that I did mention about Doc Ock being good in that final fight. I was right. Venom being in it. Venom was in it only in the post-credit scene, and that we were going to see Morbius. We didn't. But we did get Daredevil instead, and I'm 100% fine with that. So again, this movie gets a 10 out of 10. It subverted and passed my expectations, and it was great. And the two ending credit scenes, the Venom one, it was a little disappointing. Like I said, I really wanted Venom to interact with Tom Holland, Peter Parker, or even Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker. I felt like that would have been cool. But I mean, that's okay. And then the next one was a literal trailer for Multiverse of Madness. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. Follow me on all my social media down below. It's that nerd Ryan telling you, with great power comes great responsibility.